Welcome back. Video 3. Hopefully you got to play around a little bit with the files itself, navigate through the Excel sheet with the control tabs and the control home, control arrow. Now let's go ahead and look at these next two files, IC210 and IC210 dictionary. So once again, that's shift, arrow down to highlight both, and then press enter to open both files. Alright, once again, this is a data file. All it goes all the way down to FQ, quite a bit of data, and then 7,668 rows. A lot of data. Don't know what it means right now, but I'm gonna have to take a look. So what do we need? The dictionary file, right? How do I get both windows on one screen? That's once again, let's do our shortcut key, Alt W A, then tiled. So I have both files open. One's a data file, the IC2010, and then the dictionary, IC2010 dictionary. Once again, the column headings are in, most databases, they abbreviate since they want to cut down on file size and makes things a lot easier for them to use. Let me go ahead and tab over to the dictionary file, and that's Alt Tab. And if I want to go to the top, there's two ways. Me personally, I want to go to the very top on column A, so it's Control Home. So as you can see, the unique identifier is pretty important because there's going to be a unique identifier for each institution on every file. So we need this as our primary key, which primary key is the unique specific item for each institution. So we could segregate those, or we could look it up by that specific unique identifier. Let's go ahead and look at the dictionary file as a whole, because as you can see, column C it takes up more space on the screen, and it blocks it out if we don't have it in a maximum window. Okay, unique identifier, lots of information again. What this means, which of the following types of instruction programs are offered by your institution? Check one. And within the data set, it doesn't say, it doesn't list out the number of institutions. It'll list one. What does that one mean? There's another table that you have to look at. However, in this file, and I've already taken a look at it, and if you do have that time, look through all the information that is provided. It goes all the way down to 133 specific types of information. If you have time, go ahead and take a look at it. However, let's go back up to the top. And then how did I go up to the top? It was Control arrow up. I've taken a look at this file already and just kind of identify which data that I want, or the information that I want from our data file itself. With that said, I identified specifically what I want, which is the SAT scores. And they won't give you the average, but they will give you the top and bottom. What I mean by that is the SAT 1 verbal, this is the 25th percentile scores, so that's the bottom range. And the next item down the list is the 75th percentile range. So it gives you a range. If you look at any kind of information coming from the schools or websites, they'll give you a range of what their student body SAT scores are. So the way we're looking at right now, we need SAT VR 25, the variable name or the column name. That's, it stands for SAT verbal. I don't know what R stands for, but 25, 25th percentile, and 75th percentile. If you go down furthermore, there's the math scores, and then there's the written scores. So we need the three, or actually that'd be 6 specific columns we would need from this database. Everything else, it's good to have, but we want to keep our data to a limited amount as of now. You know, if you go to different websites, this is where they get all their information from. Same place we're getting it from the Department of Education. So we are just looking at the four, or actually the six specific data sets from this data file. And till now I haven't really shown you the final output, but I think this is a good time to take a break and look at the final output of what we're trying to produce. So this is the final product that we're trying to create. Once we're done, all this information will be at your fingertips. This is what we call a pivot table. So, all the data that we're collecting right now, um, unique identifier, name of the institution, this is where all the data is, that's the source of the data. So this pivot table takes all that information and puts it into a very simple looking table that you could do analysis on, filter, seek. So right now, if you look at Colombia, and have you noticed that I highlight the entire column on using a shortcut rather than going in here and using my mouse and highlighting the entire row? It's a very simple way. So I go to any cell within that row and then hold on Shift and spacebar. Easy enough, right? Shift and spacebar. So let's look at Columbia. There's a unique identifier within Columbia University. It's in New York. Their math is within the range of 690 to 780. Looks like it's being hidden. So before the file had to be adjusted a little bit, but as you can see, the verbal is 680 to 770, math is 690 to 780, written is 680 to 770. It'll cost for in-state tuition, it'll cost you $43,000. Same thing as out-of-state. There's 26,000 students, and for grad school, $38,000. I'm not quite sure if you guys knew, but it's quite expensive going to higher institutions, higher level institutions. So that's great and all for Columbia, but let's look at, you could also filter this by, let me just look at California. So it'll just give you California schools. How do I get back to the top? It'd be Control Home, as we discussed before. And then there's another shortcut in Excel, just like your web browsers, whatnot. So you want to find a school. So you hold down Control F, which is Control Find, and let's say you want to find California State Long Beach, California State, and you could use a wildcard. Wildcards in Excel is asterisk. So I want to look at California State Long Beach. Once again, how did I highlight the entire row? Shift spacebar. Verbal, math, and written. I guess the written is not required, or they're not reporting it. This is as updated as what the University of, or the National Center for Education Statistics will support. So they didn't report the written portion, or you don't have to take the written portion for Cal State Long Beach, something that you have to go to their website and find out. However, in-state tuition is 48,000. That number will change. This information was given for 2010, but you would have to follow up on the news or go to their website for that specific tuition amount, because if I know correctly, there's news out there that dollar amount is going up. For state institution, as you can see, rather than private, when we looked at Columbia, those are private institutions, so out-of-state tuitions, if not the same, are very similar to the in-state tuitions. However, for Cal State Long Beach, you can see out-of-state is much more expensive than in-state, almost 4 times as large. So very expensive for out-of-state students compared to in-state students. 37,000 students, that's a lot. You break that down, you're looking at, hover around 10,000 or more. Probably freshmen are a lot larger than 10,000 per class. So it's quite a bit of quite a number of students. However, this is what we're trying to get to. Uh, a list of all colleges in the United States. This is actually including of junior colleges. Their verbal average, math, written, their head count, number of students, their undergrad in-state tuition, out-of-state tuition, in-state graduate tuition, and out-of-state graduate tuition. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to how we are going to create this in terms of the data that we downloaded and how do we combine all the information to develop this table.